Good morning and welcome to E3, the show floor, day 3. The eyes are starting to get a little heavy, the voices are starting to fade, but this is a game that I have wanted to get on here the entire time, Assassin's Creed 3, and this is Alex Hutchinson, the creative director on Assassin's Creed 3. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. As you said, the voice is going.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple of days, but we're really excited to show the game.
Something that I have to imagine has been keeping you going is the fact that speaking with media, speaking with people on the show floor, Assassin's Creed 3 in the absolute upper echelon of potential Game of the Year, E3 Game of the Year candidates. How does it feel to have such a great showing?
The joke is everyone's saying, "Oh, you're really excited." We're really relieved. It's been 3 years working on this game since January 2010. So the fact that people are seeing how much work's gone into it and hopefully how special it is really rewarding.
Okay, so you had the Ubisoft press conference, and then we also had the PlayStation press conference. You were back-to-back press conferences. Let's get into the demo right away. And so let's do a little bit of a director's cut here. You can let us know what we're seeing, and I will pepper you with questions as we go along.
Sounds good.
So this is not what we saw at the PlayStation press conference. We're out here in the woods.
This is the Ubisoft press conference. So we wanted to start out showing some of the new stuff we've worked on in sort of the base mechanics and sort of the vision for the game. So obviously, Assassin's Creed has always been about climbing in cities. We wanted to say that Assassin's Creed can also be about just climbing in forests, natural landscapes, trees, rocks, steep slopes. So we wanted a new hero who would fit there. So this is our new guy, Rodon Hagedon, or Connor, as he'll be more commonly known. Half Native American, half English, and he's our guide to sort of this new world.
So one of the things that I found very interesting, I've seen this now a couple of times, impressed every time, is that this does not look like design. This does not look like game design. It looks very natural. And I mean, how difficult was it to be able to make it a smooth flow?
Yeah, it was probably the biggest challenge we had, this idea that video games are usually about metrics and rules and structured shapes. In our game, we wanted to say, you know what, if we're going to do a forest, it needs to be a natural forest. So the guys worked really hard. A lot of the base engineers have been with the franchise now for many years, worked on AC1, worked on AC2. A lot of the core guys actually were the core engineers on Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. So they're used to doing big navigation challenges, trying to build this robust third-person character. So they've done an amazing job.
So we're seeing now nature, obviously a much bigger factor in North America than in Italy in the Middle Ages. Good nature, maybe docile nature, deers, and then some very difficult situations here with wolves.
Yeah, so you got obviously there are opportunities. There's sort of systemic hunting that you can get into, and then you have moments like this where it can turn around and be a threat as well. So as you saw, like in the new control scheme, you always have access to a tool at any point. In this case, the pistols or your main weapon, which could be the hidden blade.
So something that I noticed very quickly, it looked like there was a little circle appeared over Connor's shoulder when one of the wolves was coming.
Yeah, so basically what's going on is the combat system, strangely enough, for animals is identical to the combat system for people. But we found that when we were testing it, a lot of players didn't really understand it immediately, so we just popped the buttons up. But it's the same combat system. You can counter an animal the same way you would a person.
Oh, very cool. All right, so here we are. We're in, I guess, an encampment.
Yep, so we're in a camp, so we wanted the crowd to be not only, beautiful and believable and part of this sort of historical setting, but we wanted them also to give you opportunities. So in the crowd in our game, you can get a side quest, you can take part in different sorts of activities, so it's also a source of gameplay.
So that side quest had something to do with bringing some meat back to the camp, and now this is more of a main story quest,
yeah,
correct?
Exactly. So we wanted to show that you're sort of layering. So on your way to the main story missions, you can sort of complete different side quests. But your goal, as always, in an Assassin's Creed game is to find and sort of dismantle this Templar conspiracy.
So over the past few Assassin's Creeds, especially when we went from 2 and all the way up through Revelations, more and more things were layered on. How many, and a lot of them were really fun, like, gathering property and den defenses, and you had a whole team of dudes you could call in, other assassins. How much of that is coming into Assassin's Creed 3, and how much is sort of resetting the level here?
As much as possible. We had kind of a no retread rule on the project, which was we didn't want to have a feature be in the game just because it had been in previous games. So as much as possible, everything is brand new. It's a brand new hero, brand new setting, brand new time period, obviously, and all of his gear as well. We've tried really hard to make sure that it's fresh, that it's new, and if we didn't need it, we didn't build it.
All right, so here we are. Some red coats are here. And
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a view of the new combat system. Connor is a dual-wielding specialist, so all of his weapons are sort of, he has two in one. So here it's the tomahawk and the hidden blade, with all kinds of new opportunities to build in sort of historically accurate elements like line infantry and trying to sort of embed them in the combat.
So we saw a couple different things very quickly here, because Connor's very adept moving from weapon to weapon. When he was up in the tree, it threw like some sort of new start.
Yeah, it's like a rope dart. Like, it's probably the most artistic license we took of any weapon in the game, but it's based on a Chinese weapon where it's basically a knife that you throw, has a cord that you can pull back. So it does exist. You probably couldn't hang someone from a tree with it, except in Assassin's Creed, but no, it does exist.
Cool. Seen a couple of those. So another mechanic we saw very quickly was the ability to take a human shield when the musketeers were lining up.
Yeah, so we had this issue. We knew there were more guns in the period. We needed to work into it, but we're still primarily a close combat game. So we just wanted to get that idea that at range, you're at high risk. You know, if you stay back from people, you could get killed at any moment, but you need to charge in and get into close combat.
So it looked like there was a couple of different types of British soldiers there that were, I mean, he dispatched them very quickly, but not just the standard musketeer.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different archetypes. We wanted this idea that in the combat that it wasn't going to necessarily be really, really difficult to win a fight, but if you want to do it cleanly and beautifully and sort of flow from one enemy to the other, then that was your challenge. So
it's interesting seeing Connor climb, up nature in a way that we had previously seen Ezio Altair climb up, more static structures.
Yeah, for sure. We worked really hard to try and get sort of natural shapes to make sure that it's a believable cliff environment, and it doesn't look like a video game cliff. You see here all the trees have different widths, so no, the guys have done a great job.
All right, so Connor's taking the back way into this fort.
Yep, so there's 3 ways to get into this particular fort. That's just the sort of stealth opportunity. And one of the cute things about this is they're loading black powder into this storehouse here. The cool thing is that not just that it's historically accurate, but it gives us a chance to do sort of ancient exploding barrels.
That'll attract a little bit of attention.
So with Gunnar, we really wanted him to be always in motion. So the last thing in this particular demo you'll see is this idea of running assassination. So he can run through enemies that are in pre-combat, snatch up weapons when they're available, and continue to run through.
He just keeps clambering.
He just keeps going, yeah.
Pretty awesome. So he pulled that rifle off of one of the guys he killed on the fly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is going to be simple to pull off?
Yep, as you go past like musket racks or enemies, you can tap the circle button and just grab it out of their hands.
Okay, so, I work at PlayStation, obviously, and so I talk with a lot of the developers, and I know making a demo for something like E3 is very hard. A lot of resources go into that. You guys made 3 demos for E3.
If you count multiplayer, we did 4.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a little bit out of control, but what we wanted to show was the scale of the game. So that you sort of have 2 challenges. One, as you say, is just this idea of building a demo. The other one is how do you show an open world game, like a game that's really broad, that's really large, in sort of 3 minutes. So we wanted to do 3-minute shots of different parts. So whether it was multiplayer or the frontier, as you saw, or naval, as we'll show in a minute, we just wanted to show the breadth of the game.
Well, and we're actually going to get to see a second demo, and while that's loading up, I wanted to talk about the engine. So the graphical engine, I mean, clearly been overhauled. Talk about what that allows you to do in AC3.
Yeah, so it's obviously not new hardware yet, but we wanted to go back to roots and say, okay, an engine is basically something that drives gameplay. So what can we work on? So we rebuilt navigation, we rebuilt fight, we worked on deforming snow so that we could sort of get gameplay in the winter. We worked on the naval, as you'll see here, in water technology. So a bunch of things just to really try and blow it out of the water.
Yeah, so to speak. That was the segue of the year right there, Alex. It became very clear to me how far the tech and the engine has come when I first saw this during the PlayStation press conference, because there was a lot of water in Sofia or Istanbul,
yep.
But it didn't look quite this beautiful.
Yeah, so this is a full dynamic water simulation now. So whether it's wind or water or waves, basically we have full control over it. So during this demo, we'll switch from beautiful sort of Caribbean sea into a raging storm.
Due north of
So
here.
who is Captain Jack Sparrow here?
It's still Connor. You're still Connor. We decided to, people were talking about the outfit for a while, so we thought we'd give him a new outfit, a much more period appropriate outfit for the naval.
Okay, I was wondering that during the demo if that was somebody else, but Connor's seems to be a pretty a real Renaissance man, if you will.
He's a jack of all trades, indeed. Yes.
So let's talk about what the player is controlling here in this sequence.
Yeah, so one thing we heard a lot of, and we want to make sure people understand, is you're in complete control of both navigation and combat. So it's not on rails. You can go where you want. It isn't quite open world in the sense that you can't sort of sail up to Boston. But this is a huge map taking up several kilometers. So you can you have a lot more room than some people suspected.
So where are we in the story here?
You're in sort of the middle of it at this point. It's not truly a story mission in the sense that it will play out exactly like this. We wanted to highlight all of the stuff, whether it's the ability to change weather, whether it's the kind of enemies that you'll encounter. So yeah, it's more just a demo of the style of gameplay. There's
been a lot of games that involved pirates, Sid Meier's Pirates and Agent Booty. There's plenty of others, but never really seemingly told from this perspective. So what did you draw on to sort of design the gameplay?
I think that was one of the cool things, is that it's kind of scary when you say, has anyone done this before? And everyone says, no, I don't think I've ever played this before. But luckily, the game is so big that we thought, this is a risk worth taking, where we can sort of get a new emotion, a new feeling, and you're always still a third-person character. You're still the guy driving the ship. You're not the boat itself. So hopefully, yeah, if people haven't played it before, then that's awesome for us.
Yeah, one of the things that everyone was buzzing about after this demo at the PlayStation press conference is the sea starts off very placid and then it starts getting really, really rough.
Yeah, I think the dynamism is the heart of it, and we found all kinds of cool stuff when we were working on it that we didn't expect. Because basically we're pitching, it's kind of like a dogfighting game, but on a plane. And then when we started building, we realized because of the sea, you get these kind of natural obstacles. Sometimes the boat is hidden by waves, sometimes it's revealed. So it's I think it's a really fresh experience.
So in this sequence, we're tasked with taking out a number of galleons and privateers. I'm trying to sound smart about boats. I don't really know.
So you're trying to sink this particular boat that you'll pass right now, and then the other boat you're trying to board. So you can switch weapon types in the same way that you do as Connor. So you can choose to sort of target the hull of the boat to try and sink it, or later you can choose to take out the mast themselves.
So in the final version, we'll likely have a little bit of a HUD to help you out. This is more cinematic.
Yeah, we cleared out the HUD just to make it look as pretty as possible, but it's actually identical to the character HUD.
Okay, well, exactly what you're familiar with here. So the ocean started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed.
I think that there's something magical about that. There's sort of the vague seasickness of seeing a boat at sea.
So as we're leading up, what were those that were?
So chain shot, basically. Once you choose if you want to take out the mast and board the boat, you need to switch to chain shot. It'll rip the mast out, and then you can swing around and pull up beside that boat and board it.
So we only have these two demos, but there was two more that you showed during the show. One was Boston. Talk about what you're doing new in the cities.
Yeah, so the cities, we wanted to show a bit more of the detailed gameplay, so all the new stealth stuff, so you can hide in the crowd. Anytime there are two people close to each other, it's an opportunity to be hidden from sight. You can take up new positions in what we call stalking zones, which are big, like high grass that you can move through. So really, we just tried to show all of the new low-level gameplay.
That's something that I think we saw very briefly in the last demo was when Connor was sneaking up on the deer. He was going through some of the underbrush.
Exactly.
And that'll sort of engage automatically?
Yeah, absolutely. Just as long as you're moving slowly through it, it's automatic.
All right, very cool. Now it's time to make it personal, it looks like. You guys know how to end a demo.
It always ends with a tomahawk to the face. That's what we realized.
And some chills. That means it's working, I think.
I hope so.
That tingling sensation means it's working. Alex Hutchinson, tell us when we're going to be able to play Assassin's Creed 3.
So October 30th on PC, PS3, of course, and
that's all that really matters.
It doesn't
as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
Fantastic job, and best of luck definitely a Game of the Show contender, Assassin's Creed 3. And coming up next, Sid will be here with Darksiders 2.